The world-famous Rose. Ronnie is the son of famous baseball player Charlie Hustle. Played third base for the Cincinnati Reds. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Yep, a superstar player. Actually played 5 different positions in baseball and played them all better than anyone else. That's him, and they kicked him out of baseball for gambling. Yeah, gambling's bad. No gambling. That's what we should do to pull. Get rid of all the gamblers. And Predator could air the Indiana Girl Scouts 8-ball league. Yeah. And Matchroom could have the Barcelona Nuns 9-ball. Get ready for that action. Anywho, Mr. Hustle won that bet and bought Ronnie his own private island somewhere down there in the Bahamas or the Keys or just way, way down there and out in the ocean. And now you know the story of Ronnie Rose. Anyhow, Ronnie asked us a question, and we're going to get to it after we analyze this upcoming 9-ball rack. Did you read the question? Well, come on, y'all, read it. You can do it. I ran 3 or 4 earlier in the night. Hey, Greg.
Hey, how you doing?
You know Shirley?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Shirley, you
Yes.
say?
Yeah, that's Greg.
Nice to meet you.
You too.
You play pool?
Well, sort of.
I'm trying, Greg. She don't listen to me. Yes, you do. Yeah, it's a pretty gravy out, and you really can't ask for much more than this, but it's all going to come down to the decisions you make right from the start of the game. So the rack gets super easy once we get right on the 3-ball, which will allow us to get right on the 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9-ball. The 8 went on the break. So to get this going, let's take a look at the 2-ball, and we can easily decide we want to be a little bit on the left-hand side of the straight in line on the 2-ball, so we can just stun it over for the 3 and try to get semi-straight in on the 3-ball, right? And then the 4-ball is basically a stop shot, or you might want to draw it back a little bit and just to kind of stun it further toward the center of the table. And after that, the 5, 6, 7, and 9-ball are easy. But there's a super obvious problem or mistake that I made on the 1-ball. Now let's pull this 1-ball out a little bit, or maybe a little bit further from the hole, and we can see that drawing this ball and going 2 rails back on the 2 would be the way to shoot it. But because this is a thin cut and we can't really grab the 1-ball with the cue ball, you're not going to increase the angle off the 1-ball enough to justify going 2 rails and spinning it out for the 2-ball. And if we put left-hand English on this, we're going to get in even further trouble and not get right on the 2-ball, which is exactly what I do. So the right way to shoot this 1-ball would be with a little bit of top and a little bit of right-hand English to kind of kill the speed and the angle off the 1-ball and come right up for the left side of the 2-ball to stun it over and get on the 3. I should have seen this. I see this all the time, and why I ignored what I saw this time is just beyond me. My head's not in the game. Something's wrong. I'm not making excuses, you know. This happens, and it happens to me, and it probably happens to you too. So the same way I'm going to snap myself out of doing dumb shit like this, I'm going to try to snap you out of doing it too. So, and that's what I'm doing here. I'm not just helping you, I'm helping me too. This video has helped me a lot because it gives me time to step back and analyze what went wrong when it does go wrong and what went right when it does go right. So because I get here and I get really bad on the 2-ball and I can't put a whole lot of stroke on this because I'm going to wind up failing if I do this. I have to go for a crazy shot and go 2 rails to the end route and try to spin it back down table for the right shot on the 3 ball to try to get back in line. That doesn't work. I came up short and have to bank the 3 ball. And not just bank it, and it's not a straight in perfect easy bank. I have to hold that cue ball to stay right on the 4 ball, which complicates the bank a lot, but if I can do that, I should be out. And that should be your thought process. When you get back in line, you're going to run this rack and win this game, and not to let the bad shot on the 1 ball and the bad shot. I don't think it's a bad shot on the 2 ball. I tried a desperate shot and it didn't work. But yeah, the really bad shot on the 1 ball, not to let that knock you down, not to get it beating yourself up and destroying your confidence. You're still at the table. You can at least bank this 3 ball and try to hold it on the 4. And if you can do that, you win another game. Think like that. Later on, we can analyze it and learn what we need to learn. But for now, we have a rack to run. Yes, you do. Maybe.
Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
He's a ping pong guy. Very good ping pong player. He gives people lessons.
That pickleball's a new thing. Everybody's into.
Yeah, that's an odd game. I had
My
to look
girlfriend.
that up on the internet just to see what the hell it was.
My girlfriend does that. I don't know if I could do that. I got a bare left arm. How did you do that?
There's a key shot here.
Wow.
Straight to hell. Oh, Disque.
Ooh, there you go.
Missed that one. Oh, man, again, but it did.
There you go.
Now I have to keep going. She's probably going to get mad. If I can make 2 or 3 in a row, that means a bonus. Big money bonus. I gotta wait to hit it here and there.
How'd you land a cush job like this?
I started over there.
Did
That
you?
wasn't so cush.
You got some years on. Where you going for, brother? The longest person to ever work at the Oak Ridge Civic Center? City of Oak Ridge, huh?
Ooh.
Yeah, I know it's getting dark. It's getting dark here early, and I don't know why. But to address the question, I think you have to kind of see it as 3 separate things, right? So let's get down on the ball. You've already seen the line. You got down the line. And from that point, let's do your warm-up strokes if you do them. And we'll call that one thing. One of the three things is your warm-up strokes, right? So let's pause with the tip at the cue ball, right? So let's end part one, okay? And let's get a breaking point between part one and part two with the pause at the cue ball. And now let's pull back to the bridge, or shorter, just money pulls all the way back past the bridge. But that's him. But let's say we're pulling back to the bridge, and now let's pause again and call that pullback the end of part two, right? And we're gonna end it with a pause, just like we ended part one. And now we're gonna stroke through the cue ball and follow through, and we're gonna call that part three. And that's, your shot's done, and it is what it is. Once you get into this habit, you can these three parts get very distinct, and I think it's the right thing to do because it keeps the muscles in your arm from getting confused about what should be going on, and it also clarifies in your brain those three parts and three different things you're doing to get ready for and to actually shoot the shot. So you can walk forward or you can walk backward, but you can't do both things at once. And so the concern is with the muscles in your arm, fighting for what does what. And I think your muscles should take a very slight break after, doing each of those parts. And it also clarifies in your brain those three parts, so you're not getting confused about what should be happening with your arm. Now there are some great players who seemingly don't pause at all, but they do. It's just so slight that you can't really see it. I don't think that's good because it takes a different part of the muscle to pull back than it does to go forward. So Ronnie asks, why the slow pullback? And I think it's just because we don't want a fast pullback, because then the sudden pause would be too kind of jerky, you know what I mean? You want it all to be smooth. And this helps your game because it keeps you from poking the cue ball, and it keeps your body from tensing up, and just you want these three things to be very separate. Your warm-up strokes don't have to be slow; they can be very fast if you want. But the pullback, I think, should be slow. And it's not necessary, but I think it helps players play better to do that. Just because it's not a sudden jolt in your brain waves and your muscles, you know what I mean? You want to be smooth about it. And it's going to take a while to develop this habit if you've been doing it another way. In fact, it's going to take a lot of effort, and you're probably going to play worse because you're more conscious of what you're doing. But I think it's important. It is what it is. You're going to have to decide to do it if you want to implement this in your game. It's going to take a lot of work to get it done, but I think you'll be happy with the results once it's in your subconscious mind and you don't have to think about it. You're just automatically doing it. Good luck with it. Stick with it. I think it's worth it. Let me know. Keep me posted on it.